The official party consists of Major General Thomas Spencer, Commanding General of the 42nd Infantry Division, Colonel Robert Charlesworth, Outgoing 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team Commander, and Colonel Sean Michael Flynn, incoming 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team Commander. Good afternoon. Major General Spencer, Commanding General, 42nd Infantry Division. Major General Talley, Assistant Adjutant General of New York. Brigadier General Beagle, Commanding General, 10th Mountain Division. Brigadier General Beeler, Assistant Division Commander, 42nd Infantry Division. Command Sergeant Major Piowarski, State Command Sergeant Major. Command Sergeant Major Cush, 42nd Infantry Division Command Sergeant Major. Command Sergeant Major Terenas, 10th Mountain Division Command Sergeant Major. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, families and soldiers of the Iraq Brigade, welcome to the change of command ceremony for the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Today, the colors and command of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team will pass from Colonel Robert Charlesworth to Colonel Sean Michael Flynn. We also honor Colonel Charlesworth as he retires after 28 years of service in the United States Army and Army National Guard. The reviewing officer for today's ceremony is Major General Thomas Spencer, Commanding General, 42nd Infantry Division. At this time, please remain standing for the playing of the National Anthem and remain standing for the invocation given by the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team Chaplain, Chaplain Robert Volk.
Good afternoon, everybody. If you so choose, I ask that you bow your head with me now. Our Lord above, it is my prayer that we bestow the utmost honor this day as we celebrate this changing of command. And let us never forget the selfless service and the sacrifice of the soldiers of the 27th as we pay tribute to our outgoing commander, Colonel Charlesworth. And I pray that the richness of your blessings from above, O Lord, may follow him, follow his wife Elizabeth, and his children as they move forward. And I lift up to you, O Lord, Colonel Flynn, his wife Lorianne, and his children, that all honor and all strength and all wisdom be granted unto them as he assumes leadership over these blessed soldiers of Orion. And in all things, O Lord, may the 27th be known for its service to one another, carrying one another's burdens. And may our lives, O Lord, be defined by the blood and sweat we give in selfless service to our fellow soldiers, to Orion, and to our great nation. For God and country, amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, roses will be presented to the wives of the incoming and outgoing commanders. The petals signify beauty and tenderness, while the stems signify strength, endurance, and support, all characteristics of a commander's wife. Today, we honor Colonel Robert Charlesworth for his commitment to the Iraq Brigade. Colonel Robert F. Charlesworth was commissioned as an engineer officer through Army ROTC in 1992. Following his officer basic course, Colonel Charlesworth began his service as a platoon leader with the 36th Engineer Group at Fort Benning, Georgia. He was deployed to Somalia in 1993 in support of Operation Continue Hope. Upon redeployment, he was reassigned as a company executive officer with the 3rd Brigade, 24th Infantry Division at Fort Benning, and was again deployed in 1994 to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in support of Operation Vigilant Warrior. In 1996, Colonel Charlesworth was reassigned as a staff officer and later as a company commander in the 25th Infantry Division, Shipfield Barracks, Hawaii. He was then assigned as an engineer trainer at the Joint Readiness Training Center at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Colonel Charlesworth transitioned to the Vermont Army National Guard in 2001 and served as a staff officer and as a brigade operations officer in the 86th Brigade Combat Team, and later as a battalion commander in the 3rd Battalion, 172nd Infantry Regiment. He was deployed to Afghanistan in 2003 and again in 2010 in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. From 2001 to 2011, he concurrently held management positions with the International Business Machines Corporation and then the Goodrich Aerospace Corporation. From 2011 to 2019, Colonel Charlesworth served in numerous staff positions on active duty for the Army National Guard. His assignments include Executive Officer to the Deputy Director of Operations, Headquarters, Department of the Army, Deputy Assistant to the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff for National Guard and Reserve Matters, and the Chief of Staff of the Army National Guard Directorate. Colonel Charlesworth assumed command of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team in June 2019. He's a graduate of the Engineer Basic and Infantry Advanced Courses, Combined Arms and Services Staff School, the Army Command and General Staff College, and the National War College. He holds a bachelor's degree of science in manufacturing engineering from Boston University and a master's degree in project management from George Washington University. His awards and declarations include the Defense Superior Service Medal, the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, the Global War on Terror Expeditionary Medal, the Global War on Terror Service Medal, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Southwest Asia Service Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Reserve Medal, Combat Infantryman's Badge, Sapper Tab, and Ranger Tab. Colonel Charlesworth resides in Liverpool, New York, with his wife of 15 years, Elizabeth. They have 3 children, Miles, Morgan, and Martin. He is currently employed with SRC Incorporated of Syracuse. Following command, Colonel Charlesworth will retire with over 28 years of service in the Army and Army National Guard. Thank you, Colonel Charlesworth, for your unwavering leadership. Today, we welcome Colonel Sean Michael Flynn back to the Orion Brigade. Colonel Sean Michael Flynn joins the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team with more than 27 years of commissioned service. His past assignments include leadership and senior staff positions throughout the New York Army National Guard. His major operational deployments include Operation Spartan Shield in 2020, Operation Enduring Freedom in 2012, Operation Iraqi Freedom from 2004 to 2005, Operation Noble Eagle from 2001 to 2002, and Operation World Trade Center in 2001. Colonel Flynn joined the New York Army National Guard in 2000, where his key assignments include platoon leader and company commander in the 1st Battalion, 69th Infantry Regiment, New York, New York, battalion executive officer of the 2nd Battalion, 108th Infantry Regiment, Utica, New York, battalion commander of the 1st Battalion, 69th Infantry Regiment, brigade executive officer of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Syracuse, New York, and the Division G3 and Chief of Staff of the 42nd Infantry Division, Troy, New York. Prior to joining the Army, Colonel Flynn served in the United States Air Force from 1994 to 2000, including active duty assignments as a public affairs officer for the 81st Training Wing in Biloxi, Mississippi, and the 354th Fighter Wing in Fairbanks, Alaska. Colonel Flynn earned his commission in 1994 through the Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps. He holds a master's degree in strategic studies from the U.S. Army War College and a bachelor's of arts in journalism from the University of Maryland at College Park. He's a graduate of the Infantry Officer Basic and Advanced Courses, United States Army Command and General Staff College, and the Department of Defense's Joint Public Affairs Officers Course. Colonel Flynn has been employed full-time with the New York Army National Guard since 2007. Concurrent with his command, Colonel Flynn served as the Director of Plans, Training, and Operations for the New York Army National Guard. Prior to joining the Guard full-time, Colonel Flynn worked in New York as a financial communications and public relations consultant from 1997 to 2006. Colonel Flynn's awards and declarations include the Legion of Merit, Bronze Star Medal with Oak Leaf Cluster, Meritorious Service Medal with 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, Army Commendation Medal with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, Air Force Commendation Medal, Army Reserve Components Achievement Medal, National Defense Medal with 1 Bronze Star, Iraq Campaign Medal with 1 Campaign Star, Afghanistan Campaign Medal with 1 Campaign Star, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Armed Forces Reserve Medal with Aperture and Silver Hourglass, Army Service Ribbon, Overseas Service Ribbon with 3 device, Army Reserve Components Overseas Training Ribbon, Air Force Training Ribbon, the NATO Medal, and the Combat Infantryman's Badge. Colonel Flynn resides in Albany, New York, with his wife Lorianne and their 2 children, Hudson and Lucia. Colonel Charlesworth will assume command of the 27th Brigade Combat Team for the final time. At this time, Major General Spencer will escort Colonel Flynn to the head of the formation for the exchange of the brigade colors. The change of command ceremony is a time-honored tradition that dates back to the days of knighthood. In those days, when the art of war was both brutal and personal, special flags or pennants, known as colors, distinguished the battlefield leaders. As battles raged and leaders fell, the passing of the colors became a method for passing on the succeeding designation of the battlefield leader. This allowed the conflicts to continue with a minimum of disruption to the leader's role. This tradition, born out of necessity, has continued to evolve in the military ceremony that is used today to signify the changing of the commanders in military organizations. Today's ceremony is held to signify the changing of the commanders of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Command Sergeant Major Garris passes the colors to Colonel Charlesworth, the outgoing commander, signifying his last act of loyalty to the brigade commander. Colonel Charlesworth then relinquishes the colors to Major General Spencer, his higher commander, signifying the end of his tenure as the brigade commander. Major General Spencer then transfers the brigade colors to Colonel Flynn, signifying the transfer of responsibility for the accomplishment of the mission and welfare of the soldiers. By authority of Army Regulation 600-20, Colonel Sean Michael Flynn assumes command of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, New York Army National Guard, effective this 17th day of July, 2021. Colonel Flynn then passes the colors back to Command Sergeant Major Garris, symbolizing his acceptance of the duties and responsibilities of command. The Command Sergeant Major is the traditional custodian of the standard and steward of the organization. He acknowledges his new commander by again becoming the custodian of the colors. The colors are now entrusted to the new commander. Ladies and gentlemen, the reviewing officer for today's ceremony, Major General Thomas Spencer.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome, distinguished guests, family members. It's great to see such a representation of both families. It's awesome. And to the soldiers representing the 27th Brigade. Hey, today we celebrate two great leaders who are competent, confident, and capable, and they understand the need for compassion and sensitivity to the soldiers throughout, but they also absolutely understand the need to train and prepare the brigade to be able to meet our needs and to deploy in support of our nation's vital interests. So let's talk about Rob, Colonel Rob Charlesworth, leaving the command, 27th IBCT, after will be just short of 29 years of service. He has two branches, heard that earlier, engineer and infantry, served on active duty. He's been in the National Guard both as AGR and M-Day, and as a M-Day soldier, he held a couple of corporate jobs at IBM and Goodrich. So he has that full spectrum of understanding. He took command on June 22nd of 2019, and shortly thereafter, led the brigade in a very, very successful brigade-level warfighter. And then after the warfighter, as we all know, the division departed for Spartan Shield, and then good old COVID happened, right? And the brigade got tapped for many additional duties throughout the year. So as I came back and took command of the division and met with Colonel Charlesworth, we're sitting in his office, and I was dumbfounded that pretty much 100% of this brigade was tapped earlier this year. And really, the only soldiers who were not being utilized on orders were those essential soldiers who are in law enforcement and healthcare. Everyone else was committed. And that just shows the professionalism, dedication, and commitment of all the soldiers in the 27th. And when the Army needs something, 27th is one of those units that goes forward. And I'll tell you what, everyone executed exceptionally well. And then we threw the Capitol on top of that, right? And the deployment to the Capitol without flaw. So, Rob, for your leadership, you and your Sergeant Major, awesome job. Really appreciate what this brigade has done and will continue to do. So, bottom line, Rob, excellent job leading the brigade in an extremely busy and unique time. I'm sure the past 2 years have gone really quick, right? And to Betsy, Miles, Morgan, and Marty, hey, thanks for letting us have your dad, your husband, for the past 2 years, and really for the past 29 years, and what he's done for our country. As I often say, we as soldiers in uniform, we raise our hand and we volunteer, right? And we make that commitment. So we volunteer, but we draft families. And you all were drafted, and you've supported your soldier exceptionally well. And thank you so much for that. So now to Colonel Sean Flynn, his family, Lori, Hudson, and Lucia. Welcome back to the 27th, right? For a little departure down to the 42nd and state headquarters. But similar to Colonel Charlesworth, Colonel Flynn comes to the brigade with 24 years of experience, and he also has two branches, the Air Force and then the Army. So he was in the Air Force prior to coming over, and he also has his civilian experience where you heard that he worked as a financial communications public relations consultant in New York City, which is a huge role that's actually paid dividends for the division over the last couple of years. Just ask our PAO, and she'll tell you all about his private mentorship and making sure she gets the story right. So in 2000, he kind of had enough of the civilian sector and needed to get back in uniform, and he came into the Army National Guard. And the New York Army National Guard has had the pleasure of Sean's service since. And he has served in many roles throughout the New York Army National Guard. And just, obviously highlighting the fact he commanded the 69th, he was a Division G3, and then went on to be the Division Chief of Staff during our deployment, and now has come forward to be the brigade commander. So with all your multiple deployments, Sean, and various jobs you've had, 100% confident in your ability to lead, and look forward to seeing the success that you have in the brigade. To Lori, Hudson, and Lucia, thanks for letting us have your dad. Command, as you know, has a little bit of an added time commitment, and he's going to do a great job. He's going to do a great job because of the support you guys are going to give him, and I appreciate that immensely, so thank you so much. And I look forward to the success you as a command team has as you lead the 27th forward. Thank you.
Colonel Charlesworth will now address the soldiers and families of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team for the last time.
General Spencer, General Natali, General Beagle, Command Sergeant Major Pierworski, Command Sergeant Major Cush, General Officers, distinguished guests, family, friends, and most importantly, fellow Orion warriors. Thank you all for joining us today. You all know I'm not good at long speeches, especially goodbyes, but this is the last time I'll publicly speak wearing the uniform. And there are several people, some here today, some not, to whom I owe a debt of gratitude. And in expressing thanks, I hope to impart on you warriors what it's meant to serve as part of the 27th Brigade and our Army for this many years. I'll begin by expressing my appreciation to General Shields, our Adjutant General, General Natali, General Spencer, and General Andani for affording me this opportunity to serve as the commander of this great organization. 2 years ago, these leaders took a huge chance bringing me here from outside the New York Army National Guard. They, along with all of you, immediately accepted me and my family as one of your own. You know, I think that's what we mean when we say inclusion. And I'd like all of us to think, if any of us think that this brigade and the New York Army National Guard would be approaching now 105% assigned strength, without that kind of thinking, without that kind of inclusiveness, we'd all be mistaken. Thank you all for your leadership and support. General Beagle, sir, congratulations and welcome back to New York. Many thanks to you and your entire team here. The Fort Drum community is also all about inclusion. This installation has bent over backward, not only to support this brigade, but the entire Army National Guard. Our Northeast Regional Partnership has been a resounding success, building readiness across all components of our Army. And as former Chief of Staff of the 42nd Division, I know my successor, Colonel Flynn, values this partnership every bit as much as I have over the past 2 years. Thank you very much for being here, sir. Now, for citizen soldiers, for National Guardsmen, that sense of partnership, that sense of community support also extends to our civilian employers. I'm very honored to be joined today by my new civilian employer, Mr. Tony Stewart from SRC, along with his wife, Carol. Thank you. Running a business and providing critical services is hard under the best conditions. During a pandemic, it's next to impossible. And then when we have to be there for our country, our state, our local community, our employers are there for us and find a way to make it work. We could never accomplish our mission in the National Guard, especially over the past 18 months, without employer support. We all owe them. Thank you. And thank you again, Tony and Carol, for making the trip up. It means so much to all of us. One of the greatest benefits of an Army career is the network of lifelong friends one accumulates. I've had the benefit of tremendous support from my fellow colonels in the New York Army National Guard, especially Colonel Steve Rowe, our Chief of Staff, our Division Chief of Staff, Pete Mailing, Chris Cronin, Chris Panzer, Mike Charlie, to name a few, so many others, and of course, Colonel Sean Flynn. Sean, welcome back to the 27th, you and Lori. I'm so happy for you, and I'm absolutely convinced you are the right officer to command this formation. Your continued service is deeply appreciated, especially having just returned from a year-long deployment from Kuwait. That's a gut check, man. You have my deepest admiration, Sean, and best wishes as you assume command. Command is certainly the most rewarding assignment an officer can have, but at times it can also be the loneliest. Everybody needs a battle buddy. Colonels need battle buddies. I think even generals need battle buddies. And I've had some phenomenal command teammates. Command Sergeant Major Paul Edwards from my time in the 86th Brigade. Of course, Command Sergeant Major Tony McLean, who's here today. And of course, most recently, Command Sergeant Major Ed Garrison. Thank you for this ceremony, Command Sergeant Major. This is incredible. You're all incredible NCOs, but you're even better friends. You always told me what I needed to hear and always lent an empathetic ear when I needed someone to talk with. You told me when you disagreed, but amazingly, you all supported me in doing whatever I thought was right, no matter what. There's a lesson in there about loyalty and trust somewhere, and one of these days I'll find the words to express it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And that thanks is also extended to State Command Sergeant Major Pierworski and Division Command Sergeant Major Cush. The Army is a very human-centric institution, and we solved some pretty tough problems in this brigade, thanks in large part to your wisdom and your support. Thank you very much. I'll never forget that. My first training exercise with the 27th Brigade was our Brigade Warfighter exercise, as the Commanding General just pointed out, and it was held right down the street here at the Mission Training Center, and I had no idea what to expect, who the leaders were in the brigade, how it was all going to turn out, and of course I was afraid I wouldn't meet anybody's expectations. But I'll tell you all, from the moment the first warning order was issued, I could tell the leaders of this organization would be some of the finest I would ever serve with. And I hold that impression to this very day. From brilliant battalion and company commanders who support each other as strongly as they support the chain of command. A highly organized and disciplined staff that manage scarce resources and last-minute changes better than any I've ever seen. And I'm especially indebted to Colonel Marshall Hunt and Colonel Don McKay, who both served and provided leadership as a Brigade XO, which at times is a thankless job, as many of us know. I'm grateful for our empowered enlisted leaders who don't wait to be told what to do, but instead figure out the most efficient way to do it and then just execute. And then finally, tremendously committed soldiers who are willing to drop whatever they're doing when called and report to the Armory on a moment's notice. Incredible men and women. I'm so proud to have served with all of you. And then, of course, a year and a half ago when the pandemic hit, we had to put literally thousands of hours of planning work on the shelf, planning 2 major brigade training exercises so that we could lend support to our state and our communities during the COVID pandemic. No complaints from you, not one. You all just received the change of mission, literally swapped the map sheets out on the wall of the command post, and got back to work. Incredible. Think where we'd be in our country without that kind of agility, professionalism, and commitment to service. You're all amazing. A wise man once told me, and many of you have heard me repeat, wearing this uniform is a family affair. And I have an incredible family. 2 parents that made tremendous sacrifices to ensure I had the best education and that I was taught the strongest values. 2 big sisters who I still look up to this day and that supported my service in countless ways. 3 incredibly resilient children who continue to inspire me every day. And most importantly, an unconditionally loving spouse and life partner. My wife Betsy is an amazing woman, and very few of you know, she was adopted as a young girl from an orphanage in Germany by an Army family. And Betsy has embraced this way of life ever since. She has cared for our children and most recently ailing parents, has kept our family together through the toughest of times, when I've not been home and when I've been home but wasn't really home. And as many of you know, I can be a complicated man. I've thanked a lot of people today, Betsy, but I could not have done any of this without your support and love. There are many things, many, many things, that I will miss about wearing this uniform every day. The one thing I will not miss is having to say no or not now, or maybe next year to the ones who mean the most to me. Well, honey, I'm fresh out of excuses. And I sense I have another change of mission coming. I love you and thank you so much. Okay, it's time to wrap it up. I have to move my pickup truck. It's parked in Colonel Flynn's spot. So hopefully you'll give me a few hours of amnesty to get back to Syracuse and move it. But I'll end by saying this. You know, I'm at the end now, and when you're at the end, man tends to look back and ask, was it all worth it? And I think about all the soldiers that I've served with over these many years, and I look at all of you warriors in this formation, and I remember the adventures, and I remember the missions, and the great stories, and even the hard times. And you bet it was worth it. I'd do it all over again. You've all given my life more purpose and direction than I ever thought possible. I was honored to serve with all of you. Farewell, and God bless you all. This is Hunter 6 signing off the net. Orion.
Colonel Charlesworth, can I invite you back up to the podium? Oh, over here, sir.
Yeah.
Colonel Charlesworth, in honor of your many years of service and upcoming retirement, we would like to present a small token of appreciation. I'd like to invite Major General Spencer back up to present. Attention to orders. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Act of Congress 20 July 1942, has awarded the Legion of Merit to Colonel Robert F. Charlesworth, New York Army National Guard, for exceptional meritorious service spanning over 28 years in positions of increasing responsibility, culminating as a commander, 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, New York Army National Guard. Colonel Robert Charlesworth demonstrated extraordinary leadership while leading his brigade through multiple challenging domestic operations to include the COVID-19 pandemic response and Presidential Inauguration 59 security. His operational and organizational leadership led positive results across the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Colonel Charlesworth's exemplary performance is in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and reflects great credit upon himself, the New York Army National Guard, and the United States Army. By order of the Secretary of the Army, signed John A. Jensen, Lieutenant General, United States Army, Director, Army National Guard. Sir, on behalf of the officers and soldiers of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, we would like to present you the colors of your command. Hunter 6, thank you for your guidance and leadership, especially during trying times. Please accept this with our gratitude. At this time, I would like to invite Mrs. Elizabeth Charlesworth and Mr. Martin Charlesworth to join Colonel Charlesworth. Mrs. Charlesworth, on behalf of the soldiers and families of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation. The inscription reads, Mrs. Elizabeth Charlesworth, for your years of sacrifice and support, we present you with this award on behalf of the soldiers of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team. Your support of the 27th Brigade and the United States Army has left a lasting impact. Because of you, and so many family members like you, our nation is stronger. Thank you for being a great teammate. Orion, the Hunter. Colonel Charlesworth will now present a brigade coin to his son, Martin Charlesworth. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my great honor to present the new commander of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, Colonel Sean Michael Flynn. Colonel Flynn will now address his new command. Sir?
General Spencer, General Natali, General Beagle, General Beeler, Sergeant Major Pewarski, Sergeant Major Cush, and distinguished guests, thank you for making time in your schedule to join us here today. So I want to begin by recognizing my wife Lori and our children Hudson and Lucia. It is only through your support, your love, and your commitment to the soldiers and the mission of the National Guard that I'm able to command here today. Thank you. I love you. I'd also like to recognize the members of my family here today. My parents, Colonel Walter and Mary Flynn, have set an example of service and individual responsibility that has informed both my military career and how Lori and I raise our children. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Also here is my brother Eric and his wife Crystal, as well as my sister Christine and her husband Noah and their children. Thank you for making the trip here today and for standing ready to support Lori and the kids while I've been away. I'd also like to recognize the members of my family not able to attend today, my sister Terry, her husband Mark and kids, and also Lori's sister, especially Lori's sister Nicole, who's been constantly at Lori's side during the toughest moments of every deployment, from New York City during those frightening weeks after 9/11, when Lori was 9 months pregnant with Hudson, and through multiple domestic and overseas deployments over the last 20 years. Thank you, Nicole, and thank you to all my family. Next, I want to recognize the non-commissioned officers of the 42nd Infantry Division and the 27th Brigade. Your leadership and mentorship to me personally, but most importantly, to all the citizen soldiers of this formation, have made our National Guard a reliable and credible combat reserve of the Army. As an organization, we draw our greatest strengths from our squad leaders and our section leaders. We are indebted to you for your selfless pursuit of readiness and your gritty perseverance in the face of a seemingly impossible task, to train to standard and to prepare physically, tactically, and emotionally a part-time military force for war. This is your brigade. Next, I want to thank General Shields, General Spencer, and General Natali for your trust and confidence in me. I want to thank several former commanders of the 27th Brigade here today as well for their leadership and their ongoing mentorship. General Beeler and Colonel Slack, thank you for selecting and training me for the operational assignments necessary to command at this echelon. Colonel Cronin, thank you for your steadfast friendship and mentorship. And Colonel Charlesworth, thank you for your leadership. Rob and Betsy, the 27th Brigade has truly flourished under your command. Finally, to the soldiers of the 27th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, thank you for making this selfless commitment to your community, your state, and your nation. Your service at home and abroad over these past 20 years have been decisive in preventing both individual loss here as well as another massive attack on our homeland. And though the campaigns in Iraq and Afghanistan are ending, the natural and man-made threats against our families, against our peace and prosperity, and sadly, against all of humanity, have no end. Thank you for sacrificing your time at home. Thank you for sacrificing at your place of business and at your livelihood to stand ready between the unthinkable dangers of this world and those that we love. Orion, never forget.
Please stand for the benediction by Chaplain Volk, followed by the playing of the Army Song.
I ask that you please bow your heads with me. O Lord, our great protector above, my prayer for the 27th is that as we move forward from this day under the leadership of Colonel Flynn, I pray that we may never forget our duty to one another. And may we never grow weary of doing good in this world, so that each and every day I pray, O Lord, that as iron sharpens iron, so too may we sharpen one another, honing our skills as a hunter brigade. May Orion always and forever be blessed. For God and country, amen.
Praise
Sir.